Pride of Higara. This is Captain Soban of the fleet, Farron Shah. Looks like you could use a hand. Attention all Sobani, pick your targets and engage.
Hello everyone, this is Captain Soban. Welcome aboard the Starship Normal Prize for our first episode of Homeworld 2 Point Defense System version 7.3.2, aka version 7. Now this is a version that came out after version 6, and it puts the fight even further in the future than version 6. And what I've been told from some of the developers that this one was the one where everything was focused on ion cannons, phasers, lasers, pulse lasers, like all of that is kind of like the main fighting force of this mod, and I actually love that. Ion cannons are probably my favorite type of weapons in the Homeworld universe, especially because my favorite ship in Homeworld is the Kushan Ion Cannon Frigate. All it is a mid-sized ship with a powerful particle weapon in the middle of it, making it very effective against frigates and capital ships, but giving it a gigantic weakness against fighters and corvettes, because that weapon is big, it's hard to track, so fast-moving ships make the Ion Cannon Frigate very vulnerable. And I don't know, I just always loved that frigate, ever since I've seen it for the first time, since I've seen the Iron Array frigate for the first time on Mission 4. Anyways, before we actually start the scenarios, what I want to do is actually take a look at this, the PDS universe. This is a cool addition to this mod because it kind of shows you the landscape of what's going on in the PDS universe right now. And remember, this is about maybe a couple hundred years after the Vagar War. So as you can see, the Imperial Titan has shrunk big time. The Titan used to rule like half of the galaxy during the Homeworld 1 era, and because of the fall of the Empire and the rebellion against the Titan, they've shrunk big time, which is kind of why they turned to the Vagar in the Homeworld 2 era to try to reclaim their territory and take back what was theirs. But anyways, let's kind of start out. The first thing I noticed is we have Hagar right here. If you remember in the Homeworld 1, there is a map that shows you where Karak is compared to Hagar, and Guardians of Kadesh, where the Kadesh are right here. So I would assume that they would probably be right here. I think Karak would be like right here, probably a little bit further off. But yeah, Homeworld 1, the Kushan went a long distance to get to Hagara. One of the reasons why I love that campaign so much, because of all the hardships they went through, because the mothership was all they had left, and they had to fight to survive in order to reclaim their original territory, or they would die, because that's all they had left after the Titan invaded Karak. Anyways, let's actually go in through these. So we have the Tyrannic Kingdoms here, which are the Tyrannic Raiders. They don't... Oh, that's other things. We're not quite there yet. I was hoping it would tell me some information about the Tyrannic Kingdoms. We had the Cassie Regime, which I don't actually know who these are. I need to read up on Homeworld lore. But they're up here at the northwest of the galaxy. Then we have the Federation of Kush, which I have, again, no idea who these guys are. A loose alliance of planetary nations who are closely united with Higara. The Kush mobilized their combat navy against the Vagar due to their booming economic relations with the Higaran civilization. Okay, so they were close allies with the Higarans, and the Higarans were helping them grow through trade, so they felt obligated to help them during the Homeworld 2 wars. Okay. They provided the Higarans with locations to bases, off-world industrial complexes, as well as a considerable volume of resources. Okay, so in return of helping their economy, they helped the Higaran with supplies and probably military equipment to help fight the Vagar. Cool, good to know. In turn, Higara exchanges assistance with development of interplanetary communications and transit infrastructure, as well as military cross-training. Okay, so the Higaran helped the Kush with their military training, and returns for the economic agreement they had between the two nations. The Diomad's policy to acquire mining rights quickly compelled other allied regiments, such as Itar and the Levani, Levy. I'm just gonna call that Levy Protectorate, under the umbrella of the Federation of Kush, in order to enjoy the ripe rewards offered by the Hagaran Republic. So they kind of created their own little giant republic system based off of the economic agreement between them and Hagarans, and in return they help aid Hagarans' military efforts against the Vagar. Interesting. The original Kush ethnic group are distantly related to the ancient Kushans, descendants of the modern Hagaran people. Yeah, the Kushans used to live on Karak, and once they took Hagar back over, they became the Hagarans, and were once counted as a protectorate under the First Hagaran Empire. This historical link was also a predominant factor in the unity between Hagar and Kush before the onset of the Vagar invasion. So this was all taking place after Hagar was taken back over, and before the Vagar Wars actually started. So this would probably be through the Cataclysm era when all this was actually taking place. The Kush's small navy is largely geared towards the protection of trade routes between Hagar and Kush from commercial raiders and pirates. Although there is some speculation that Kush's Special Operations Division are undergoing surveillance of the neighboring Titan Empire. That doesn't surprise me. At this point, Titan is probably pretty ticked off at the fact that they lost a whole lot of territory, so the fact that they're kind of spying on the Kush and the Hagaran makes total sense to me. Okay. So the Federation of Kush actually knew about the Kushan people before their adventures. Actually, they probably encountered them during the journey to Hagara and helped them out during the capturing of Hagara and developing of the Hagar Naval Coalition. Okay. Wow. I'm learning a lot. Okay, so that's the Federation of Kush. What do we have to say about the Imperial Titan space? Titan Empire. Despite being officially absorbed by the Vagar, the Titan have quietly thrived during the Tumultuous invasion era, feeding their masters with advanced technology and war doctrine while secretly developing their own naval power. Okay. So they're playing Sneaky McSneaks. While still recognized as an empire, in practice the Titan regiment is ruled by a cattle of admirals that govern the various provinces of Titani space. The political landscape of the shadowy Titan civilization is treacherous at best. There is some intelligence indicating that the Titani industrial conglomerates are in fact pulling the strings behind the curtain. Okay. So Titan technically doesn't exist anymore because they were absorbed by the Vagar and became a vassal from them. Okay. Some believe that the Titani bought, which is why we don't really run into them during the Vagar campaign, because they technically don't exist. Some believe that the Titani bought time to rebuild their military strength and gain diplomatic leverage by providing support to the Armada de Macan, whilst others argued that they were manipulating the Vagar and effectively began the invasion era, which is when the Vagar decided to attack the Hagarans. But what is increasingly become obvious to all that the Titan Empire have emerged from the fresh embers of war as a worthy starfaring power once more. So I get it. I think the Titan used the opportunity for where Vagar attacked Hagara as an opportunity to try to regrow their military strength. So once this war is over between the Hagarans and Vagar, they can start conquering the galaxy once again. Okay. Use it as a sneaky McSneak thing. Alright, and what do we have to say about the Vega? The Vagar reaches. Many of the clans that were once counted as members of the Armada de Macan have now officially ceased offensive operations against the Hagarans and their allies. So this is the part of the world when it's starting to turn more into a Cold War, it sounds like. Where it's no longer just offense, offense, offense. It's more like, okay, we have our borders, defend them against the Hagarans, and Hagarans are kind of like in the same position. The starting defeat they suffered at the siege of Hagar, and the very sight of the great progenitor warship Sajuk destroying the supposed Sajuk Kar, Makan, almost totally destroyed the precious unity the Vagar warlord had created. Yeah, I would suspect that your warlord dies, the one that's supposed to bring peace, quote unquote, peace to the galaxy, and find out that the enemy actually has this gigantic, powerful ship, that would devastatingly hurt the morale of the entire empire. So I understand that. It's kind of the same thing that happened to the Titan Empire when their immortal leader died from the Kushan during the invasion of Hagar. That kind of threw a wrench into the entire plan and gave the rebel movement a opportunity to push what they wanted to do and get their territory back. So yeah, I understand that completely. The Vagar are consolidating their gains and have turned away from their nomadic origins, settling on captured planets and developing their infrastructure. Yeah, that's actually a pretty smart plan. Get your infrastructure going so you can actually maintain all of these powerful warships. Unanswerable to any singular command entity, the Vagar clans are once more independent of one another. Reigned and under the iron fist of their individual war masters, the break of relations amongst the great houses of the Vagar civilization have been most advantageous to Hagar, who have systematically defeated the weakened Vagar presence in the Hagaran control zone for the past 2 years. So the Hagarans have been making push to recapture their territory that the Vagar took during the initial invasion phase. So at this point of the war, the Vagar are kind of on the glimpse of playing defense, getting their infrastructure going, securing the territory they currently have, and trying to figure out what's their next plan. While the Hagarans are pushing forward, reclaiming their territory that they used to have with the help of Sajuk. Okay. Additionally, rebellious Vagar who have fallen out with the traditional caste have fled the Vagar reaches and carved their own territories separate from the loyalist houses. Okay, so that's where the Vagar plains and this territory and whatnot are about, I believe. Such dissatisfied people found the independent Vagar Federation of Nalthor. I guess that's this one. Nalthor and the Ravener Democratic Republic. The Loyalists distastefully refer to such outcasts as the Jin Vagar to their native tongue and are needlessly cruel in their dealings with the traitors. Okay, so all of these little ones right here are ones that decide to become an independent faction from the Vagar reaches because they are dissatisfied with the way that their empire is handling things. I understand that. That makes sense. The whispered stories of rape, disfigurement, and torture of Vinyar survivors often capture may have some kernel of truth in them after all. So there's a lot of distrust between these independent factions and the main factions. So a lot of civil distrust between them, sounds like. Despite many disastrous setbacks, there is a rising movement between the loyalist Vagar clans and the Reaches, which still fervently believe in Makan's demi-godhood and cling to their faith of Seljuk's prophecy. These self-styled Crusaders have regrouped and rearmed the battered remnant of the Armada of D. Makan and are poised to unleash yet another invasion era upon the Hagarans. Although the flourishing of the supposedly enslaved Imperial Titan to the galactic north have induced wary hesitation from the loyalist leadership before totally committing to a second invasion. So it sounds like these two are trying to work together to invade Hagar's area. At the moment, they're kind of hesitant because they're trying to regroup their infrastructure, trying to deal with these civil issues that they have of these independent factions showing up. And the Imperial Titan are kind of just trying to grow and waiting for the right chance to strike. Okay, that's what's going on with the Vagar. Lots and lots of political drama with that faction. What else do we have? We have the Elysian Union down here, which I, again, have no clue who they are. We have the Ravender Demonic Republic. Oh yeah, that's another one of the independent factions of the Vagar. The Federation of Crush, which actually reaches all the way down here. That's interesting. So I guess now the last one we'll do is read about the Hagaran Naval Coalition. This is what Hagaran is going on in this part of the war. With Makan's death and the defeat of his Grand Armada in the Galactic Core, as well as over the skies of the Homeworld, the Hagaran Republic has once again proved itself a survivor. I will survive! Hagar has become the dominant superpower of the galaxy with the acquisition of progenitor technology and the flourishing of the close-knit demonic society, or democratic society, not demonic. That's a completely different society. But this is not without cost. Dozens of planets, hundreds of ships, and millions of lives have been lost. Even 2 years after the official end of the invasion era, the Hagar Navy still finds planets sterilized by the Vagar via the holocastic means of orbital bombardment. Yeah. The Vagar is very vengeful, very... Definitely remind me of the Empire from Star Wars. But, just read that part. The Hagaran's political structure is still headed by the Diamad. Diamad. I'm just gonna call him Diamad. I'm pretty sure that's wrong. The old assembly of the Kif leaders. Kif... Diamad... I'm just gonna call him Diamond. However, with the sudden influx of immigrants from devastated star nations, the number of Kifless citizens have become much more significant, and the racial identity of the Hagaran civilization has become to a controversial debate. Okay. So they are becoming an immigrant hotspot, which makes sense. They're kind of like the celebrity superpower of the entire world. So they're kind of like the United States in this entire endeavor, where people want to go there because of because they've heard good things about it, and now there's so many people there that's causing issues, like interhuman issues, kind of like what we deal with in our country. The number of the incalculable loss of life and economic power, the disappearance of Karen Sajet, and the emergence of the multicultural Hagarian Navy as a resolute font of unified military and social leadership have also been fundamental to the erosion of the Kif's spheres of influence. I wonder what happened to Karen. Interesting. So yeah, they lost their main leader. They're getting a whole lot of people in here that actually are part of the Kif culture, so they have no idea, you know, what the foundations and the fundamentals of the Hagaran Navy is. And how they got there in the first place. They just know about the whole Sejuk thing and the whole Vagar invasion thing that went on. Okay, interesting. Current Hagaran political policy is to secure a friendly relationship with the separatist Vagar. The separatist Vagar. Ah, so the friendly Vagar people, which is probably these little territories that have been breaking off from the main Vega influence. That would make sense. Probably why the Vega hate them so much. Primary goal of the Hagaran military is to reclaim lost territories from the Vega warlords, beginning with Operation Sledgehammer, a galaxy-wide offensive. Holy crap. And that's actually one of the missions, because I looked at the missions before I started reading this. Interesting. Okay, so bottom line, Hagaran is trying to reclaim their territory that they lost from the Vega. They are cooperating with the Federation of Kush to keep their economy going. They are talking to the Vega territories to try to see if they can convert them over to the Hagaran side, or probably vassalize them so they can protect them against the Vega forces. At the same time, dealing with the political drama happening on Hagar because of the influx of immigrants coming to the planet, where the Imperial Titan are kind of sitting behind the little territory they have left, growing their military, waiting for a good chance to strike against the Hagarans, and the Vegas are kind of doing the same thing, dealing with their own little issues with their some of their territories breaking off from the Empire, and trying to build one last big push to try to take over Hagar again for the people that are still loyal to Makan. So yeah, lots of drama going on in this universe. A lot more than I was expecting, honestly. I still want to know a little bit more about the Cassie regime and the Elysian Union. I kind of want to know more about them. We didn't really get to learn too much about them in the other Homeworld universes. But anyways, I think it's already been 20 minutes, and I kind of want to play around with the skirmish mode to try to get used to the game a little bit before we hop into the scenarios. But like I was saying, right here, mission number, I think it's 3, Operation Sledgehammer. It's here. And I can't wait to actually try out these missions. But I think in the next episode, we'll play around with skirmish to kind of get a feel for the game, get a feel for the ships, check them out. I am eventually planning to do a ship showcase series of this mod as well. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time actually showing off the ships, kind of just learning the game and getting into combat. I'll probably also learn a little bit more about the game off camera so that I'm ready to go. And then the next episode after that, we will start doing the scenarios. We'll start with the first one. But I need to get a feel for the mod before we actually start jumping into things. So anyways, guys, I know that much happened in this one. It kind of was just a whole bunch of lore that we got to learn, because I didn't realize that the game would actually give us this whole breakdown of the entire galaxy of what's currently going on in this situation. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked it, please leave a like. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. If you want to catch me live, I do have a Twitch account. I don't really use it much. I'm probably planning to use it once or twice a week whenever I have free time. I usually don't have a whole lot of free time because my work is really dumb and it gives me really weird schedules. But if I do have some free time, it'll be on Twitch. And if you guys want to join the Discord, that'll be in the video description as well. You guys can check that out and check out other people who are familiar with the channel, chat with them, do whatever you want. As long as you're not being mean or being rude to people, I don't really care. And there was one more thing I wanted to talk about. Oh, and a link for this mod would be in the video description as well. So you guys can just quickly go there and download it if you want to try it out. I've had a couple people ask, how do I download this mod? So I'm just like, just put it in the video description from now on. I think that would help all of us out. Anyways, guys, until next time, this is Captain Soban signing out.
The Vega have arrived. Emergency hyperspace procedures initiated. The mothership must survive.